Hello everyone, today I'll be doing a solo Grandmaster run, the arms dealer with Warlock. The subclass I'll be using is Void Walker. Here are the mods and fragments I'll be using in this video. For my kinetic weapon, I'll be using the Stasis with explosive payload and shoot to loot. Next I'll be using Graviton Lance with the Catalyst. Next I'll be using the Solar Linear Fusion Rifle. If you don't have this weapon, recommend a Solar Rocket. For my helmet, I'll be using by Discipline, Ashes to Acids, Linear Fusion Rifle, Ample Finder, Elemental Ornaments. Next, Conjure's Hold, Unstoppable Scout Rifle, Anti-Barrier Pulse, and Elemental Wells with our grenades. Next I'll be using Solar and Void Resilience with Fundamite and 10 resilience. Next I'll be using Pulse Rifle Holster, Linear Fusion Rifle, Scavenger Well of Utility, and 10 resilience. Lastly, I'll be using Double Bomber, Beautiful Wells or Bountiful Wells with the artifact to stagger and do some DPS on champions. Alright guys, so today I'll be doing, of course, the Solo Grandmaster on Warlock. So I decided to go for the Void subclass for the Warlock and use a exotic, the Graviton Lance. So as you guys know, there's going to be a barrier and unstoppable champion. I am using a linear fusion rifle to do DPS. And I was just being a bit cautious with the barrier champion, which it does love to spam the machine gun, which can melt you. So always be careful with these types of barrier champions. There's usually around 2 types where one shoots arc, and then this one where just unlimited machine gun heir apparent. For some reason it's crazy how this champion has infinite amount of heavy machine gun. So as you guys know, the weapons I'm using isn't the meta. I would say Graviton Lance is a good enough weapon to use for GM, especially for this Nightfall. I feel like this weapon would be much better on another Nightfall with the Void Burn. I would prefer to use an exotic, a Solar exotic, for this Nightfall since Solar Burn does additional 25% damage. That's why I am using the Linear Solar Fusion to get a 25% damage buff. But if I did have to switch around, honestly I would prefer an exotic Solar and then a heavy would be a Void. Like a Linear, Rocket. Any good amount of DPS heavy will be good enough for this Nightfall. So the barriers for this season is sidearm, sadly, and the pulse rifle. So that's another reason why I'm using this weapon, and also I do want to mess around with it since it is very interesting to see how this weapon is now, since they did change some of the perks with the Vulpal weapon and turnabout. So I would say they definitely made this weapon a little bit more powerful. I mean, if I had to pick between Hard Light and this weapon will be way more powerful, or the primary weapon would be way more powerful than Hard Light. I mean, Hard Light is a good weapon, but it's a decent weapon because the DPS for Hard Light isn't the best, and you don't really need to use it at all for this Nightfall because auto rifle now is only for overload champions. Another thing I'd like to mention is I am a little bit rusty with my Void subclass. I haven't touched the Void subclass Warlock for about a month, and the reason why was because the 3.0 Solar. I just wanted to test around with the Solar, and I didn't really at all touch the Voidwalker Warlock at all. So you'll notice that I will miss my nades, unfortunately. I think I missed over here. Let's see, did I miss over here? Okay, not so much, but still, I wasn't perfect. And I keep forgetting that the pulse rifle is anti-barrier, non-unstoppable. I am using a different super just to melt the boss, well, for the final boss for the mini cheese. So you can use any of the Nova Bomb, the one with the tracker or the non-tracker. Really depends of your playstyle, to be honest. Now, if you are having trouble with the barrier champions, especially the ones with the machine guns, then just switch for the Nova Bomb, the one where it can track enemies. Just use that one then. So yeah, I gotta say that this season, Grandmaster feels a bit nerfed. I mean, with high resilience, they don't seem to one-shot you at all. Now, if I had tier 10 resilience, I probably would be more tanky than before. And it's crazy, like I'm not even using a Solar 3.0 subclass, and I'm still... I didn't really have any problems at all for this Nightfall. The only problem I had was dealing with the last two barrier champions, because the loadout I was using wasn't the best. Dealing with them from far distance, not so much. Unless I used the tracker Nova Bomb, maybe it would have been way more easier. Because sometimes if you're using the other one, which is more powerful, you can miss, and there goes your super wasted. Let's be honest, a lot of Warlocks had that. So let's not lie to ourselves. It happened to me, and I'm sure it happened to you as well. Alright, so I did drop the Solar Orb, so I can just deal with the champion. For the champion, it will hop down. Once it does, you can throw your grenade, do DPS as much as you can. I am using a artifact mod, basically a champion mod where it does an explosion, solar explosion on champions when you stagger it. Now, just to let everyone know, sometimes it doesn't work accurately. There are times where I'm spamming my scout rifle, and sometimes it doesn't work well. And you'll see very soon what I mean. I was messing around with 3 unstoppable champions with a scout rifle, and it just wasn't 100% working as I want it to be. Alright, so there's gonna be a ship and a barrier champion, which everyone despises. So I do recommend take down the ship. Once you take down the ship, then you can immediately just take down the barrier champion from the far right side, by the way. So yeah, I'm just taking my sweet time dealing with the ship. Now, I could have used my sky rifle, but I wanted to just show off the Graviton Lance exotic pulse rifle. When going to the right side, always make sure you do the Warlock bunny hop. You want to make sure you jump really fast, or run, jump, bunny hop really fast. That way the barrier champion won't melt you with his arc attack, so definitely make sure you bunny hop. Now there are many methods to deal with this barrier champion. You can go on top of the platform where you see from the right side, the orange platform, to do DPS with the champion. Or you can stand here, but it isn't like there are just 2 options, maybe 3. If you do have your super, the tracking Nova Bomb, then you could just use your Nova Bomb once you stagger the champion. Now I was just taking advantage of the champion mod where you stagger the champion and then it explodes. It does somewhat decent amount of DPS. I decided to use it since I'm not using the classy restoration. I mean, I would use it, but I am on Void Warlock, so I can't really use it. I mean, if I could have, I would. Honestly, I would take advantage of classy restoration and then just make this Nightfall extremely easy. Now you can actually pick up the Solar Orb, so make sure you pick it up, and then we're gonna dunk the orb so we can actually proceed to the next area. Once you dunk the orb, then you'll have a champion, unstoppable champion, 1 from the left, and then a couple of Cabals with a shield. You can spawn kill them with your grenade, which I did in Abuse with Contraverse Hold. You just throw your grenade and then you can get your grenade back. So yeah, this is very fun, isn't it? I was focusing on the major from the right side since sometimes it does love to throw grenades. Once I stagger the unstoppable champion, I switched to my heavy. If I had the bait and switch, you know, I would definitely do much more DPS, but I don't have it unfortunately, so I'm just trying to make it work. With Force times the Charm and Focus Fury, I mean, that's good enough for me, to be honest. Or I could use, if I had the Force times the Charm with high impact reserves, honestly, that would be another good perk loadout. Let's say the second option to deal with champions. Now, if you saw there that I am using Shoot to Loot Scout Rifle and Explosive Payload. Now there is a bug, maybe it's not working, I don't entirely remember, but if you are using Explosive Payload with Shoot to Loot Scout Rifle, you can get double heavy or double special, and for me that's good, you know, especially if I'm using a rocket, you know, Galahorn, which I'm probably gonna use that weapon next time. Abuse the power of Shoot to Loot with Explosive Payload and get double ammo, which makes life easier, especially now it costs around 5 energy just to equip rocket launcher scavenger, and it can be a nightmare. You know, you can get 2 heavy, but you can get 4 with the payload and the Shoot to Loot. Alright, so we're gonna go to a shortcut. There's gonna be a bear champion lurking around, waving, saying, "Hi Blitz, what's up?" So I'm gonna go to a shortcut, go under the bridge. I'm gonna just prefer to go this direction. Seems the safest. Now, sniper is on the left side, so I always make sure I take him down, or if I don't see him after a minute or so, then I just proceed my way and just take down the bear champion really fast. So here is the barrier champion. And he shoots arc. Now be thankful that this champion doesn't shoot machine gun. Alright, so just be very thankful that this barrier champion is not complicated as the machine gun one. So you can stagger the barrier champion and then just use a linear. Really interesting that abusing this artifact where you can stagger and do somewhat DPS at a champion makes life a little bit easier, especially if you're not using the classy restoration. Alright, so now it's going to be the tank room. Yes, the tank room. It's going to be extremely fun for you guys, but not for me. But I'll be honest with you, I prefer this tank room over than Proving Grounds. I extremely hate Proving Grounds, and I can't wait to abuse classy restoration on Proving Grounds. So I thought I did DPS at the tank. I mean, look at this. I thought. Alright, so the sad thing is I didn't really do any DPS at the tank. I thought I did. I mean, look at that. You saw that I caught something, but it was just the Cabals or something. The tank sometimes is smart and it just loves to move from the left side, and it can be extremely annoying, which is why, like I said, if you don't like the Nova Bomb or it doesn't have tracker, then just use the other one. The subclass, the super I'm using is very different. So like I said, if you want the Nova Bomb with the tracker, then just use that one to deal with the tank if you are having trouble with this one I'm using right now. Now I was trying to do DPS at the Unstoppable Champion. I didn't take him down fast enough, and because I didn't do it, he's gonna walk all the way from the left side and mind his business and just be a troll. Now I am trying to be very careful with this tank, and I kinda lost my patience. You know, I thought maybe if I throw my grenade and then just back away here be a good idea, but no, honestly I would just go all the way from the right side where you see that wall and then just spam grenades in your linear. That's what I should have done earlier, but at the same time I was just testing around with this loadout since it's very new. Alright, so I lost my patience. You know, I just want to take down this tank. Now, the bad thing about standing on this specific spot is the Unstoppable Champion and Cabals are gonna push. So you have to make sure you take down the tank fast so they can back away and mind their own business. So I was just trying my best to take down these critic spots for the tank, basically the weaknesses. And I was trying to see where the tank was gonna hit. I don't want to get one shot from the tank. The tank can one shot you, unfortunately. It can on regular strikes, it can on adapt nightfall. It's always been like that for years, so it's nothing too special, to be honest. But yeah, finally we can actually clear down all these Cabals. Now I do recommend to take them all down. The reason why I want to take them all down is because you have to deal with the barrier champion. Yes, 2 of them. They can be extremely dangerous if you are reckless. As I said before, make sure you take down all these Cabals because I'm going to go to a specific spot to deal with the barrier champions where they're not going to shoot arc at me while I'm doing DPS. Now people will argue and say, why don't you go all the way from the right side, you know, where the switch is, go behind there and then just take down the bigger champions. And yes, I am taking down this unstoppable champion. Well, there's the pros and the cons of going behind the barrier champions. Now, the good thing about going on the far right side behind the switch is, you know, you have a good angle of dealing with the champions. But, big but, right? If you don't take down the first unstoppable champion right away, if you don't take down the first anti-barrier champion right away, like you have to do it now, then the second barrier champion is gonna tag team and then shoot arc at you, and then you're gonna mess up your DPS, or they're gonna huddle and then that Pacific barrier champion that you weren't touching is gonna pop a shield behind the injured barrier champion. And it's just a lot of work, so that's why I prefer to go the most easiest route for me, and I just go from the left side. And then the barrier champions, they don't touch me, they don't even shoot arc at me, they just spin around circles mindlessly. So I don't know which one you would choose, mindless bigger champions or tag team huddle barrier champions from the right side. I would prefer to go to the left side and just stay safe. That's just me. Everyone's different. Now if I was using Obelisk, of course, you know, it'd be way more easier to take down these barrier champions, but I don't have Obelisk in this video, so I am using a different loadout. And you're probably thinking what I'm doing over here. I'm trying to take down this Cabal. He is extremely annoying. It took me around 2 minutes or 1 minute. Alright, so I'm gonna go from the left side. And I was just double checking, making sure I take down all these Cabals, but no, I missed one. So make sure you take all of them down so they won't disturb you when you're doing DPS at the barrier champions. Now I can finally do some DPS, and yes, these barrier champions are clueless in this specific spot. I mean, you can even see one just not knowing what to do. Should I shoot Blitz or should I just stay and do the dance? This is basically the barrier champions of what they do. Now make sure you do take them down fast because they actually do pull back. So make sure you do a lot of damage or use your super if you have the tracking Nova Bomb. So yeah, just focus, and then once you take down the first barrier champion, the second one always seems to back away. It always seems to go all the way from the back. Only one barrier champion you can push, and then you can just deal with him around this platform right here because you have enough cover from the arc attack. So make sure you have this barrier champion go aggressive. It will follow you. So I was just trying to bait this barrier champion to move. I don't want to go too close to it because the cover isn't safe. I will prefer the one right now when I'm standing. So yeah, this is basically using Graviton Lance. I mean, it's an okay weapon. It's a good weapon. I don't think it's bad at all. I just feel like this weapon would be much better if the Nightfall had Void Burn. And there are a couple of Nightfalls that do have Void Burn, so I'm definitely going to try it on a different one. Alright, so once we do turn on the 2 switches, there's going to be the last tank, and the last tank is extremely laughable on Warlock Void subclass. So you can use your super, you can just spam your grenade, because if you have counter reverse hold, you can just do infinite amount of grenades depending of how accurate you are throwing your grenades. So you'll see very soon. I'm gonna throw my grenade and then get it back over and over again. So yeah, it's pretty fun. It's not so bad, to be honest. You just have to be very careful with the tank, because sometimes if you're not careful, it can one-shot you while you're trying to throw a grenade while you are flying in the air. You know, you don't want that to happen, right? That would be kinda frustrating. I was just waiting for my grenade to come back, and then I'm gonna do it again till it gets taken down. And there you go. The tank is laughable, easy, on Void subclass. Warlock is unbelievable. Also on a Titan grenade with the Void Wall is also one of the weaknesses for the tank. Well, you know, all of the classes can use Void Wall. I forgot about that. But yeah, it is another option of dealing with the tank. Another weakness for the tank is rockets. They hate rockets, so definitely use rockets for this Nightfall. Now I am abusing the new where you stagger champions and then they get an explosion. Pretty hilarious. So mainly I'm just gonna use my scout. I'm not gonna use my heavy. So I'm gonna do a mini time skip for this. Alright, so once I defeat the 3 unstoppable champions with just using a scout and artifact mod, right? Now I'm gonna be dealing with the mini boss, which he is extremely dangerous if close by. And then all these shielded cabals where you can just throw your grenade, by the way. So I was debating, like, should I throw my grenade and embarrass myself in front of guardians of me missing? And I said to myself, yes, I am going to do it. And I finally did a decent amount of damage with the grenade. So that was fun, right? By the way, just to let you know, once you take down this mini boss, then the dogs will spawn. So make sure you do enough DPS until the boss's health is very tiny. That way you can make your way to the platform and then spawn kill the dogs with the grenade. I didn't do it in this footage. I totally forgot that this guy opens the door. And of course dogs will spawn, so I was forgetting stuff and I had to quickly make my way to take down these dogs because they are not fun to deal with when you don't spawn kill them. Alright, so now I'm gonna be going to the boss fight and it's gonna be extremely fun. and I am extremely sleepy, guys. I need to go to bed. It is 3, actually it's 4 a.m. in the morning, so I am going to be right back. Well, I feel awake-ish. So now we're gonna go to the pre-boss fight. And you can see sometimes Unstoppable Champion will be up here. Sometimes it will be at the ground from the left side. Very RNG, by the way, so make sure you take him down. If not, which I didn't achieve, it will go back to the ground from the left side. And then you could just take down the champion from far distance. Now, the Unstoppable Champion is not the one I would worry about. Mainly is the last 2 barrier champions. The loadout I'm using, right, I was having a hard time dealing with the 2 champions because they decided to hold hands, huddle, and team up on me, and it's not really pleasant. It's not a fun experience. Now, if I was using Obelisk or a stronger weapon, especially, well, let's just say Obelisk with the linear, you know, these bigger champions wouldn't be a big threat to me. But for this one, they are a bit, since I only have the linear fusion with no bait and switch, by the way. It's just a decent perk that I randomly got from the chest, and that's basically the only thing I have. I do have the pulse rifle, but it doesn't do it doesn't do massive damage compared to linear. So not only have to stag the bigger champion, I also have to switch to my heavy. Now, if you do prefer the Nova Bomb with the tracking, then just use that. Once you stagger the champion, just use your Nova Bomb. You know, throw a nade, use a Nova Bomb, and then the champion should be melted. Now, in this video, I didn't really use my super. Maybe I should have. I was just debating because the super I'm using, you have to make sure you Nova Bomb the right spot because it just stays there. It's not a tracking Nova Bomb where you just mind your own business and it slowly tracks the champion or the boss. I was taking down these Cabal shields because they are extremely annoying. I really despise them. I despise them because they love to hide. So you saw there, I did throw a grenade, right? And then it started to hide once health's a bit low. Now, if you do walk closer, it's going to pop. It's going to get out from its little hiding spot and then try to shoot. So yeah, I was just double checking, and then I saw a couple of ads from the left side, and now I'm gonna be dealing with the most amazing part throughout this entire Nightfall. It's the last 2 bigger champions. I'll be honest, I had a little trouble with them, a little bit, because of the loadout. They were team shotting me, and the most dangerous champion is the barrier with the machine gun. The one that has infinite amount of heavy. Basically, I think it's just heir apparent. The Cabal just stole that exotic and it's just spamming it without its arc shield. I mean, can you imagine if the barrier champion had the arc shield while shooting? Like, that would be too powerful. So yeah, this is the barrier champion. There's 2 of them. Another cool method you can do is one barrier champion. I forgot which one. You can see right there. It will stand at the top platform for a little while and you can just quickly do DPS. But because I'm not using Obelisk or any stronger weapons, I didn't do it. And I didn't have the time to take it down very quickly. Because if you do, then you'll just deal with one barrier champion. So I was trying to see if I can bait this barrier champion because there was just no way I could take down the barrier champion from the top because the weapons I'm using isn't prepared for that. Another method I forgot to mention is they are buggy. Sometimes they teleport. And I had issues where I was standing on the platform. The one where I'm going to be standing right now. Right there. Right there from the left side. Sometimes one of the champions teleports and then they stomp you. And that is extremely, well, maybe rare. It happened to me many times. So that's why I don't really hang around there when there's 2 barrier champions. So you're probably wondering what I'm doing here. I'm trying to find a good angle, a good spot, just to deal with these barrier champions. So I'm just trying to find a really good spot to deal with the champions. I don't want them to be huddled together. So I'm just trying to think of a method to manipulate their moving, if that makes sense. And I can just deal with one champion at a time instead of both of them. Unless I was using Stasis Warlock, right? I could just throw my turret and freeze one of them and then do DPS with the first bigger champion. I mean, that could work as well. So yeah, right now I'm just trying to break down the shield, but I don't think it worked out for this part. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, we have the barrier champion with the arc shooting towards me with the missiles, and then we have this machine gun barrier champion that loves to spam heavy. So I was trying to bait the arc barrier champion to move around out of the way so I can actually do some DPS with the barrier champion. It seemed to work pretty well. Not bad, right? Once I figure out how to manipulate the movement for the champion, then he was a big no problem. Now, because I took down one of the barrier champions, now it's safe to go on this platform. It isn't dangerous. It isn't dangerous. The only thing you have to be aware is these Cabals do love to throw grenades, so make sure you are very careful with them, which is why I always try to take all of them down before taking down the barrier champion. Now, if I was using, like I said, a stronger weapon, maybe I would do the opposite. You know, every run is always going to be different. Every run, the barrier champions will behave extremely different. Sometimes they stay in the middle, sometimes they go all the way in the back. So be prepared to deal with these 2 most annoying champions throughout this entire Nightfall. That's the only problem, to be honest. Everything else, all the champions are very easy to deal with. It's just these last 2 barrier champions. You know, they thought, once again, they thought having 2 barrier champions in this specific area would be a good idea. Honestly, I don't think so much because anything could go wrong if you're not too careful. So once we took down a barrier champion, finally, all champions done, you know. So I can actually go to the elevator and deal with the boss. If you're wondering what I'm doing, like I said, for the explosive and shoot to loot scout rifle, you can get double ammo. It's a bug, and definitely take advantage of it, or they fixed it. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, if they fixed it already, then just comment below. Because I remember I had like plus 14 linear by shooting one brick in this run. So I don't think it's broken. I mean, I don't think the bug is fixed, but honestly, just take advantage of it. Alright, so now I'm going to be dealing with the last remaining Cabals and then the final boss. Isn't this just great? Perfect, wonderful, wonderful day. The happiest guardian ever. So you're going to be dealing with the slow elevator. I'm not going to say it's the slowest elevator in entire Nightfall. Let's put Scarlet Keep as the #1 slowest elevator. So make sure you take down all the turrets as much as you can. So basically for the chase spot, you will have to do DPS, I would say about 1 bar. 1 bar of the boss. It will move from the right side and pop his shield. Then you take down the ship, take down the solar cabal, take down the red ads, and then you just keep throwing your grenades over and over with vortex grenades for Warlock. And that's basically the cheese spot. Now, just to let everyone know, the cheese spot was... It's been for years, ever since the vanilla version, that you can do this method. So it's nothing new. It's extremely, extremely old. So trust me, it's nothing special. Everyone knows about this mini cheese spot. So what I want to do over here is just make sure I do half of the first bar. When the boss's health is half of the first bar, he's going to move to his little bubble spot. A cool method you can do if you want to, I don't think I did in this video. I think I wasted my Noah bomb and just did a different method. You can actually use your Noah bomb once his health is half. Once you do that, he should jump up to the bubble and then he'll just not shoot you, right? So the only thing I would say is you must do enough DPS until he is 1 bar out. If you don't, he's gonna keep sniping from the top tower. But you don't really need your super to melt him down to the first bar. You can also use your heavy. If you do have full heavy, like I do over here, you could just spam heavy, but always save a couple of heavy with the ships since we don't have a rocket. Rockets seem to be the most efficient dealing with the ships. So I'm gonna do a mini time skip right now. So basically I'm gonna make sure this guy's health is half of the bar. So now I'm actually going to do DPS at the boss until it has 2 bars. So you can see here I'm just focusing on dealing with the boss, and just to make sure he has only 2 bars of his health. So if you're using linear, just keep spamming linear until he pops the bubble. And once he does that, then the cheese is complete. Now be aware of the ship. Focus on the ship first, then deal with the Cabals. Now, if they do throw grenades, which I'm pretty sure they will do that, you could just move to the left side, or you can run to the opposite direction, which I did because things are getting out of hand. So make sure you back away And if they throw a grenade, just move to the right side, or you can just run to the opposite direction. Really depends of how the scenario is going, dealing with these ads. So yeah, right now I saw a grenade, I moved away, and then they were throwing a lot of grenades, so it wasn't feeling safe, so I decided to just move to a different direction because the Solar Cabal is still flying around shooting its void. I can hear it, and I need to take him down, so anything that is running towards me must take him down. And then look for the void Cabal. Now they're very stingy. Sometimes they like to hide when you break the shield, and it's extremely annoying because I only have one bullet and then this guy is gonna hide. They always do this, by the way. It's nothing too special. You can see here that he was waiting for his shield, that's why he didn't attack that son of a bungee, you know. Once we take him down, then we can actually just do the cheese spot. So what you do over here, as everyone knows, you just throw your grenade under the boss. So I'm gonna just jump and just show you where the boss is. He's right there. You just throw your grenade under where the boss is standing, not on top. So you can see here, that's the boss. And then you throw your nade. It's very fun. Something very interesting I do want to talk about. So I will be sacrificing my loot because when you do complete the Grandmasters, it's gone. Except the one that is available for this week. And I decided for experiment just to sacrifice my loot, even though it's double loot this week on Grandmaster, and it makes me cry. Also, a reason is I probably want to do this run again with a different loadout and probably a different subclass, not just this Nightfall, also the other Nightfalls, Proving Grounds. Not really sure. I really hate that Nightfall. I despise the rocks and everything about it. But for the other Nightfalls, definitely do want to mess around with the loadouts and subclasses and then save the checkpoint. So I can just go in there and then just take my sweet time messing around with loadouts. Alright, so I'm gonna do a time skip until the boss has tiny health. Alright guys, so after spending, I would say 10 minutes of my life, right? The boss's health is very tiny right now. So once you just spam grenades, you should have a completion of your first Grandmaster solo for this season. Well, time to sacrifice my loot. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.